I'm live. Hello, everyone. How are you today? What's up? What's going on? I'm actually waiting for some more people to join in because some people have seen the previous stream after it was finished, and they pointed out some stuff that I have mistaken. Hi, Sai. What's up? Uh, they have pointed out that I made a mistake of a sort when I was speaking about um, Kickstarters, and I'm waiting for Al Pidwell to join, and hopefully he will start pointing out the stuff that I um, spoke about previously, and we could rectify the situation. It was, well, partly my English because I couldn't remember the word at the moment, and partly, um, well, misinformation, so to say. So we'll start off as soon as possible. Okay, today's topic is can a GM be a good marketing manager? Basically, the answer is, in short, yes, but also in a little bit longer, not necessarily. And then there is the whole story that we're going to discuss today. Uh, there is just so much sounds distracting me right now. The kids from upstairs, the washing machine, my wife's in the other room talking to her friend. So I'm sorry if I seem distracted or distant for a moment. Um, let's start with the correlation between um, branding and GMing. Basically, every GM, almost every GM in the world, at least every GM that's been GMing for a few years, has made their campaign, their own homebrew campaign that their players have played. While making a homebrew campaign, you're actually, oh, something's wrong here. All right, can you all hear me well? Because I'm not sure if I have connected the proper microphone. Anyways, the correlation between GMing and branding is this. All right, cool, thanks. You're basically world building if you're making your own homebrew campaign and if you're making your own brand. What does that mean? If you see the correlation between, not perfect, but YouTube sucks nowadays. I might have mistakenly I might have mistakenly used another microphone instead of the one that I was supposed to. Toggle pop-out chat. No, there is nothing I can do right now without ending the stream. And yeah, all right. You are aware that when it comes to branding and marketing, in the field, we do say branding campaign or marketing campaign. That means that we have a clear plan on how it should start, how it should develop, and how it should end, meaning what's the end result of the campaign. But the whole point of today's topic is how can a GM be a proper branding or marketing management for their own game, or rather for their own content that they're producing. What's going on here right now is that if you are making your own campaign And if you are making your own game and you want to make it public and make it available for people, the campaign is basically this. At the beginning, you need to interest your players to start playing your campaign. The same goes with the audience. You need to give them something, to give them something of value that will hook them in order for them to start asking for more, so to say. And eventually, they will, the ones who get hooked will carry on throughout your campaign. So basically, build the world with you, uh, especially the people that are playtesting the game, and especially the people who are really invested in the whole process. Uh, okay, the people who are being really invested are most likely your friends or internet friends, but you shouldn't put aside any other constructive criticism that you might find on the way. The whole point with the marketing campaigns is pretty much the same as homebrew campaigns, not even just homebrew campaigns, but also pre-written campaigns, that where you need to adapt and improvise. Uh, because a campaign is a living thing, both in the GMing sense of it and in marketing. So the whole point of adapting and improvising when it comes to marketing is to actually give people um, what they want at a certain point of time. You have most probably had this situation where a player gets like maybe bored of the campaign, or gets stuck, or doesn't like the character all that much, doesn't like your style of GMing perhaps, and eventually they either keep it to themselves, and when they snap they leave, or there is the other thing that where they talk to you and basically tell you what's wrong, and you can work it out together. Uh, it's pretty much the same when you're running a campaign about your product. In this instance, the product being the game. What I mean by that, basically the product that you're putting out is, uh, as I said, when it comes to the campaign, it's a living thing, and the product is a living thing. No one likes to upset anyone. Yeah, you're right, Sai. And I'll get back to this in a second. I just want to finish my thought here. The product is also a living thing, and if a lot of people point out something that is wrong with the product, let's say a campaign having, I'm shooting right now, like from the top of my mind. The campaign having too much undead enemies, it tends to get boring. You can push undead for only so much time, and after that, you gotta go to, I don't know, the abyss, or perhaps switch from the undead to the cult, or switch from the cult to, I don't know, whatever, some greater evil, or I don't know. Basically, with the marketing campaign, hey, Veiko, what's up? With the marketing campaign, it's pretty much the same. You have to switch the enemies. You have to go from one thing to another, where people to another thing that people are encountering in your marketing campaign as well. So if you're giving them, for instance, the basic world building at one moment, and the next moment you will be giving them um, character building perhaps, or maybe a bit of mechanics, or I don't know, skills, skill tree, or I don't know, the mechanics behind building the character, maybe something even bigger, like world building, like vehicle driving, something within those lines. Uh, Now, Simon says no one likes to upset anyone. Yeah, that being said, you are right. Basically, no one likes being called names like Okay, I'm not going to curse now, but no one likes being the bad guy in the whole story. So whenever you feel like you have to talk to somebody. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm receiving messages here. Let me just turn off my cell phone. Again, I forgot to do this, and I apologize. Oh, yeah, Al is sending a message. Just let me. Oh yeah, I answered. All right. Oh, yep. Hey, Al. What's up, my good man? Welcome. I will finish my thought, and we will be coming back to what you pointed out. Uh, where was I? Yeah, no one likes being the bad guy. Well, that the whole deal with pointing out some, uh, you know, how should I say? Is discrepancies a right word for that? Well, maybe not discrepancies, but anyways, um, some faults. Yeah, pointing out that somebody is doing something wrong. I will put this in. I will emphasize wrong because there is a black and white. I mean, the whole gray area. Oh, hello, Philip. What's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, there is the whole gray area between right and wrong, and nothing's like completely. Yeah, room for improvement. Thank you. Um, there is nothing completely right and completely wrong. There is just uh, a way to point out those things, like perhaps uh, if you are feeling that the DM is perhaps neglecting your character for some for a few sessions or so, you should approach the DM and tell it to them. But the whole thing with the marketing campaign is people might be losing their interest in your campaign if you're not providing them with enough information. Pretty much like your like the GMing sessions, you might provide less and less information. Yeah, I'm doing animations these days, and everything is a blur in my head. Providing not enough information could let players could drive players to get bored or something. Anyways, keep what you need to keep in mind is that you should really provide enough information. Uh, keep the interest of the players, or rather the participants of the campaign. Uh, have people invest themselves in the campaign, meaning ask them for a favor. For instance, would you please share this for me? Are you interested to take a look to give me your honest opinion? And things such as those. I mean, whenever people ask me, for instance, about giving them a review for the game, most of the time I gladly do it. I don't do it gladly if I don't like the game. That's one thing. Or another thing is if I don't have the time, which happens occasionally. Uh, Now, back to Al and his the things that he pointed out. I would just ask you, Al, if you could write down the things here on chat uh, that you pointed out to me, so we can discuss them further. And I will just carry on with the story between the GMing and the marketing campaign. Uh, when you ask for an honest opinion, friends tend to look for what's wrong. Yes, most of the time. Uh, Sometimes friends will tell you, no, everything's right, you're doing a good job. Even if you're not, they might be like bored to give you an honest opinion, or they might be I don't know, reluctant to do it because they're afraid not to hurt your feelings or something. Um, and yeah, you said that can be upsetting to a GM. Um, yeah, it can be upsetting to a GM, but if you are aware that you can make mistakes as a GM, you should be aware that you are actually making them, and um, that if people point out those mistakes, you would actually thank them for it, and be the good guy in the whole story. Meaning, if somebody points out their um, if somebody points out a mistake that you have perhaps possibly made, you just say, "All right, thank you. I will try to rectify it in the future sessions." Most of the time, we need to understand that every homebrew adventure, every marketing campaign, as I said before, it's a living thing, and you need to adapt and improvise, and it needs to have room to breathe. Meaning, you get to have how to put it. You get to have all the ideas like placed well in your head, but it's not necessarily that all those ideas are going to work out. And you should know as a DM or a GM rather, that the ideas that you're putting out, they're being they are being the susceptible to change. Uh, Nothing is perfect, especially not uh, from the first step. I may have thought of a game or a campaign that I think like it's freaking awesome, but the players tend to go a different way. And instead of, for instance, the previous campaign that I ran, I started as a very, very low magic campaign, but because the players wanted to go full magic, full demon possessions and whatnot, I actually gave the players what they wanted, and eventually they were happy. I guess Protke can attest to that. Let me just read through what Al said here. So words to avoid when talking about Kickstarters would be things like invest. Better words would be support and pledge. Agreed. Just couldn't find the right word at the moment. And because I was thinking about, hey, Anastasios, I was thinking about some investments uh, yeah, these days. So that's what was like regularly in my head. Um, it's all about the framing. Stretch goals should be based on backer numbers rather than money, or yeah, okay, rather than values of any sort of money currency. Also, with regards to stretch goals, I would avoid short changing your backers by holding back. All right. Instead, you need to get into the mindset that you need to be offering stretch goal content that has high perceived value and low cost. All right, agreed. So good examples would be include scenarios. Protke, void. We were happy. Yeah, I know we were. uh, Expanded spell list, expanded bestiaries, additional art, increased page count, PDF content. I agree. I agree. What what I wanted to say is not holding back in the sense of giving the backers an unfinished game. Uh, I will speak openly here. Improved components. All right. Yeah, additional books like the nice Symborum, Symborum one I sent you. Yeah, yeah, that is a really nice thing. Um, the deal here with the stretch goals. I what I said was like uh, keep keep the basic game for the first goal, like for being backed, and keep stretch goals like unlocking more and more stuff uh, if if you reach the stretch goals. Uh, you still need to deliver a fully playable game to the backers, and the stretch goals should be something that would enrich the game, not something that the actual game already has. Um, I'll be, as I said, I'll be fully open here with you guys. The thing that I had in mind for my game was like, okay, here you go, have the game, you can play it, but with some extra stretch goals unlocked, we will have like more cards, more items, more feats, more more of pretty much everything, and you could even get well. We did think about having some backers uh, giving us their photos so we can actually draw some characters uh, after using their photos as reference. So they would be involved in creating the characters. They will be involved in creating the items, creating the feats, and etc. etc. Uh, Back to Anastasius. Hello, Crafty. I hope I'll be able to follow the discussion, but I'll probably be about 10, 15 seconds behind. No worries. Although Chris may also make a short visit. Oh, that would be awesome. I haven't heard or seen Chris for quite some while. I saw that he made a blog post on his website about why he's absent, but he's in the military right now, so it's only logical. Um, yeah, essentially in stretch goals, I think you want more options for existing mechanics, exactly, rather than completely new mechanics. Again, I agree, at least in most cases. Kickstarter stretch too thin. Make one product, make it better with more money, absorb shipping, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'd agree, Sai. Anastasius, at least when talking about games. Essentially, search goals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we back a Kickstarter, we want a bonus for helping you make it. Again, you're right. A good example, Pathfinder Kingmaker. A sucky start followed by a huge developer persistence followed up to a very polished game and an amazing Kickstarter for the new game. 2 million out of 300,000 gold pledged. Yeah, actually, Pathfinder Kingmaker is a good example. I personally did not like the game, but I liked some of the things that they did. some Kickstarter want to charge the same for a book as if you bought it in the shop. No, no, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Kickstarter should be like uh, a thing for backers. Basically, what would be a good incentive for you to back a project if you're not getting something extra, something that you will not get in a shop? Uh, Really absorb the postages in is an awesome. Of course, yeah, yeah. The postage is a bit tricky here because. Well, there is two things. If you are on Kickstarter and you're making a product, you need to make a good big product, include the postage, and open up a company so you can make a contract with some um, courier agency, DHL, UPS, or whatever, and by making that contract, actually lowering the price of the postage for anything you send. Um, if I pay £50 for Kickstarter, there is another 20 to 30 on top for shipping. That's right, Sai. Yet if it lands in a shop, I won't have to pay shipping again. Right? Yes, it has to be it has to be the best for a backer. Again, agreed. Good point about Kickstarter. Thanks, Dover. So. Uh, Basically running a Kickstarter campaign. Also think of it as storytelling, as world building, because think about how what are the points of interest in your world, in your Kickstarter campaign. We already spoke about stretch goals, and we spoke about um, backer extras, and we spoke about what else did we speak about? Hold on, I'm losing some of the messages here. No, the postage is covered only if you Kickstarter raises more uh, than it was expected. How would you guys feel about having free postage to your FLGS? What's FLGS? Can you elaborate on that? It has been good chat, but I have to go. Okay, okay. Thank you for being here. Simon, that's a good idea, Al. Again, what's FLGS? Care to enlighten me, please? Friendly local game store. Oh, thanks. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. What you just said, Al. And yeah, most of the people do have local game stores in their towns or where they're residing, anyways. Tea time. I know that Al likes this particular. See you later, Dover. Catch you on Twitter. I know that Al likes this particular mug, and it's even older than I am, and I'm 37. Yeah, a lot of them are open to it, and you have mug envy. A lot of them are open to it, and actually, I spoke with the guys from my local game shop, and they were even open to connect me with the publishers and distributors. So that's really a big deal, and I think that if you just as a human being to another human being go and approach the people from the local game shop, they would be more than happy to actually um, do something for you, especially if you are the one developing the game. uh, they will support local developers, designers, and game distributors, publishers, whatnot. So where were we? Yeah, I was speaking about Kickstarter campaign and world building, storytelling. So there are few approaches to storytelling. I'm not going to go into them because this is not a storytelling video blog, but I'm going to go into the points of interest. I mean, story hooks in your campaign, um, points of interest as in cities, people, and quests, perhaps. You should think about what would be the points of interest in your marketing campaign, Kickstarter campaign, or something closer to that. Um, I am receiving messages, but nothing really important. All right, no one from from our chat here. Anyways, yeah. So when thinking about promoting your game, even if it's still in development stage, you need to think about how will you get how will you draw people to actually how will you draw their interest to your game. So I'm just thinking out loud here, and I want your help here. Let's see. Give me some ideas, because I know. Okay, Sai, I know that you already have some games published. Al, you as well. Who else is here? Yeah, just the regular guys, my friends. Um, I want to have this conversation with you, and I want you to think about what I just said, and tell me what would be perhaps the points of interest, or rather the checkpoints within your marketing campaign for the next project. Um, Al, you do have a lot of experience with Kickstarters, and I know that Sai has a few games under his belt. So I would really love your insight here. I mean, it would really mean a lot, so we have a topic to hook on. Still at the mug envy. The messages might not be reaching me. That's also another thing. But until I receive a message from some of you, I will just keep on speaking. So yeah, marketing campaigns, points of interest, people, players, or other people of interest. So you want to discuss marketing for the Kickstarter or the game in general, not just the Kickstarter. I mean, I just mentioned that I would like to discuss game development, even in the sorry, not game development, the marketing strategy, or rather branding campaign in the game development process. So that's what I had in mind, not just not just the Kickstarter. So even when you are developing a game, I know that most of the successful Kickstarters, for the big games at least, had some pre-campaigns before they went public, even meaning they gave they were speaking about developing a game. They gave their game to playtesters. They gave their game to people of interest that would be willing to quick start rules. Yeah, right. Let's get back to that in a few seconds. Trip, feed art, and use it to collect emails. Right, exactly. Um, Artwork is, I spoke about that the last time. Artwork is what catches the eye of the possible backer, customer, whatever you want to call it. A possible player of your game, enthusiast. Email campaign, once you have a mailing list, again, agreed. I spoke about it the other time. You listened to the podcast. The podcast? No, not the podcast. The stream. Um, I spoke about it. Gathering up mailing list is a very good deal, though we spoke about it as well. You do need to charge for some of the content that you're producing uh, when you are making a mailing list, or if you are producing some free content for your game that you're giving people to incentivize them to back you up. uh, you you do that for free, whether or not well, no matter how much time you invest in it. Give people a section of map and an overview of what happens in the region. Agreed. That's a very good point. You can actually give them some characters, just what you said right now. Give them some character bios, legends, etc. Exactly. World building is a big deal um in the setting. I ran a poll some time ago. It was, I think, more than a year and a half ago, and I asked people to give me their honest opinion on what's the most important thing. Well, the artwork was surprisingly the most important thing. The next thing was setting and world building, and in the third place was mechanics. So mechanics is not as important as we think. It is important in the sense that we need to have a playable, enjoyable game, but nobody's gonna give you bull for, I don't know, having too much number crunching, perhaps. No, okay, too much number crunching is a bad thing, but I don't know, if you have a little quirk in your mechanics, nobody's gonna uh, they take that as something bad. Anyways, yeah. First and foremost, Al said maps are kind of sexy. Yeah, they are. They are. Maps are really really nice. Also, character concept designs. Also, landscapes. Maybe if you have like vehicles or mounts in your game, that as well. Um, give through By the way, yeah, we can actually correlate these two things, the video production, like big budget movie production, with the game production. um, so when you're watching a movie trailer, okay, the trailers as of late, they pretty much tell you everything that's going to happen in the movie, but uh, the movie trailer, or rather a PC game trailer, or okay, console game trailer, you can take a look at that, and basically, if you see like a trailer that's giving you some sort of info about a game, you see that in those trailers, you have they include a a little hint of mechanics, a little hint of what you can do in the game, a little hint of where you can go. um, I remember Assassin's Creed, um, was it Brotherhood? Yeah, I think it was Brotherhood. That they had a very interesting intro to their game, and I remember I was instantly hooked. Like from the trailer, you instantly knew that you could run like more assassins at the same time. Okay, more assassins at the same time, meaning invite assassins to do the assassination. You knew that you had smoke bombs. You knew that you had some new moves. You knew that you would travel to a different location, etc., etc. I don't remember vividly, but I remember that they did a very good job. So speaking of this game, if you, let's say, want to say that you that you are including mounts in your game, you could show an artwork of somebody riding a horse, or I don't know, a demon dog or whatever. And by showing the artwork of somebody riding a mount, you're actually telling people you will be able to ride a mount in this game. If you are perhaps showing a dark dungeon and somebody being attacked by, I don't know, some sort of monster that they do not see, perhaps, you will basically tell people that there are stealthy monsters. And as Al said here, if you have an interesting location, that's evocative. Indeed. One thing being said, that thing being said, locations can actually give you a whole background story, because a single image speaks more than 1,000 words. And if you do have, let's say, an interesting location, perhaps I'm speaking here from the top of my head right now. Oh, let's say a purple sunset, or white sands, white deserts, or maybe the sky is completely black. There is no sun, or there is just a little bit of sun showing through the clouds, and you have perhaps a small humanoid representation somewhere on the image, showing the vastness of that space, and what they actually have to explore, and perhaps showing some strange architecture, um, and anything that includes verticality, that as well. I was getting there right now with the architecture. Basically, if you have some nice architecture that you can show, uh, perhaps a very tall castle, or a sci-fi building. I don't know. Um, it it could go from one place to another, however you feel like, and um, when you are showing the artwork for your game, uh, have in mind, let's say, the art gallery. Uh, I wanted to say art gallery symptom, but not symptom. Uh, Art gallery. What would be the right word? I don't know. uh, the pattern, or the art galleries used to show the images of whoever's displaying them, basically have the same feeling in each image, so that the viewer can immerse themselves into that image and into that setting. Give them the opportunity to realize what's ahead of them, if they decide to back your game, and if they decide to support you. Um, Tea time. My throat is getting dry. This stream is running for 43 minutes already. I'm surprised, to be honest. Um, and yeah, basically, I want to address one more thing when it comes to marketing campaigns and GMs being the ones running them. Uh, Simat said in the previous stream that game designers are usually not people persons, meaning that game designers usually like their privacy. They're not so outgoing and things like that. I mean, okay, I can totally relate to that, because I'm an introvert myself, and I actually hate speaking publicly, whether you believe it or not. Um, and the whole deal with public speech is that it's something that you can actually learn. I sucked at public speaking. I couldn't form a single sentence. even though I used to be a musician and I used to play in the coffee shops and clubs all over the place, public speaking is a completely different thing, because you have to say something and sound congruent, and actually give something of value to the people. And when I started studying media engineering, uh, that's where I actually had my first encounter at public speaking and conveying the message that I want to send to the broader audience. So the whole deal with being out there as a game designer is something uh, that you need to develop as a skill. It's not something that you're born with. I don't even think that you get to be born with anything, basically, because we all have the skills that we learn, whether they're like skills that we're learning from early childhood or perhaps later in our life. But still, I really believe that social media is helping in that, because we can actually stay safe behind the keyboard and the computer screen. And on the other hand, this doing these live streams could help uh, could help you to develop a skill that you would use as your uh, tool to be able to show people that you actually can give them something of value. Um, and I think that I have said everything I wanted in this stream, even though it's like much shorter than the previous one. But if any of you have some questions, please feel free to speak right now. I'm not brave enough to play online. New minded anything else? Ah, all right. I get it. I mean, I can totally relate, because, as I said, I didn't uh, I didn't want to become a public speaker, but eventually I started teaching people stuff, the basic life skills, even public speaking eventually. Yeah, yeah, okay, never mind anything else. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But you do have a good following on Twitter, and it seems to me, at least, that people value your opinion. If you don't want to do this type of public of showing yourself in public, you can do whatever you feel like. That's why I said. That's why I said that social media is a good thing. And one more thing is, you can always write a blog. I mean, I hope that Chris will join us, the good GM. He started writing a blog, and that's how he became so famous, so to say, even though he's not aware of it. I but after 7 beers probably. Actually, if I drank like a single glass of something, beer or whiskey or whatever, uh, to me, I wouldn't be able to speak, and it's really not good. It's really hindering me. Hey, Chris, I was just talking about you. What's up, my good man? I've recently started having to do webinars for work, and that's terrifying, at least at first. Yeah, yeah, webinars. I mean, this thing here. I'm basically talking to the camera and not you guys. It's really hard. There is no proper human interaction, and I'm just speaking something, surviving. Please, Chris, tell me what's happening. I mean, I saw that you posted something on your blog, but I didn't have the time to read it. Also, Simon, fake it till you make it, buddy. You can reinvent yourself. No one has to know about the crippling shyness. Exactly. What Al said here, it's very much true. I wanted to say hi. I can't stay long because my data plan is going to get. Oh, you're on data. All right, all right. Yeah, I get it. But thanks for dropping by. I really appreciate it, and good to hear from you. For a moment there, I thought that you have ended up somewhere on the border with some of the bordering countries, and oh, you are on the border. Border crisis has increased work. Coronavirus has left me inside a base. We're not allowed to leave the base. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I'm barely leaving my apartment. Good thing it's snowing here right now because otherwise I would be all over the place. Just a few days ago, it was something like 24, 25 degrees Celsius. Right now, it's zero, even below zero, I think. And it's snowing for 2 days straight. Like, it's a blizzard. Yeah, by the way, what Al said, Sai, you really need to. I haven't been transferred to the border, thankfully. Oh, good. Uh, Sai, as I said, public speaking is a skill, and it's something. The first step in being good at something is actually sucking at something. Everybody who's watched Adventure Time knows this sentence, and I really like it because it really does show the proper way to handle things that you don't do. Remember when smartphones first showed up? You know, I was reluctant, even though I'm a sort of a tech freak. I was reluctant to have a smartphone because um, okay, I have big arms, I mean big hands, and yeah, big fingers while we're at it. And yeah, typing on a keyboard on a touch screen was a nightmare for me. You know, so I still used my QWERTY cell phone that I previously owned for quite some time before I decided to finally buy a smartphone. Public speaking is a beast that terrifies and intrigues me at the same time. In real life, I have done loads, run convention games for over 10 years, even got a chance to GM at a Gen Con. Is it Gen Con or Gen Con? In USA in 2009. Put me in front of a camera and I'll yeah. Okay. I was pretty much like that first. Uh, as I said, looking at the camera is the worst possible thing that you can imagine. But then I started doing lifestyle. Oh, so like a G, not like a gift, like George. All right. Yeah. The whole deal with the camera. As I said, I started a lifestyle blog some years and years ago when I started my psychology studies, and I wanted to put out some of my thoughts, and that's why I made myself uh, exposed. That's why I exposed myself to the camera and to the recording, and even with my knowledge of media and the whole management behind it, it was terrifying. I hated myself because I sucked big time, and yeah, it was just, as you said yourself, terrifying. Dude, put me in front of camera and you think I'm taking part of a gunning competition. Yeah. No. Gurning competition. No one wants that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, camera is really camera sucks. I can attest to that definitely. And the whole deal with being comfortable in front of the camera is exposing yourself to it multiple and multiple times. I mean, okay, take a look at the rest of the videos on my YouTube channel, and you will see a lot of jump cuts that I'm making because, okay, at first you can hear me speak right now, and you hear that I'm making all these, I'm trying to cover myself with these little pauses that are actually just sounds and mean nothing, and that's why I make a congruent sentence, like a whole sentence, and just jump cut between two or three sentences that make some sense actually in the end of the video. So basically, being in front of the camera is mostly about being comfortable to speak to nobody, and also being comfortable, being comfortable, not being comfortable, knowing that it will be edited eventually. So that's the whole deal here. And yeah, I think that I'm done for the time being. If you still have some questions, please let me know, and if you want, we could address some of these topics in private messages on Twitter or whatnot. I don't know. Facebook is also an option. Yeah, I'm friends on Facebook with all of you right here in the chat right now. But yeah, I think I'm gonna finish right now. And before that, I just want to thank you for keeping me company here, and I will bid you farewell. Goodbye, guys. See you in another curfew stream. Take care, all. Stay safe. Stay home.